The morning rush in New York City was always a blur, a sea of faces, tired eyes, and hurried footsteps echoing through the underground tunnels. People clutched coffee cups, scrolled their phones, and avoided eye contact. Life moved fast, too fast to notice the quiet souls that lingered at the edges, but that morning, everything stopped. It began with a voice, soft at first, trembling, uncertain, like a fragile spark trying to fight through the noise. It came from the far corner of the 42nd Street subway platform. A young man, maybe in his early 20s, stood near a chipped column, holding an old guitar missing two strings. His clothes were worn, his shoes covered in city dust. He had a cardboard sign that read, "Trying to get home. Please listen." His name was Eli Turner. He wasn't homeless. Not yet. But he was close, painfully close. Once, Eli had been a music student at Juilliard. His dream was to sing on big stages, to make people feel. But life had other plans. His father's illness, the hospital bills, the long nights working double shifts, it all came crashing down until Eli was left with nothing but his guitar and a heart full of songs no one wanted to hear. For weeks, he had been singing in the subway, ignored by thousands who passed by. He had learned to keep his head down, not to expect anything, but that morning, something inside him changed. Maybe it was the way the light flickered across the tunnel, or the loneliness in the faces rushing past him. He decided he wouldn't just sing today, he would pour everything into his voice. He closed his eyes, took a shaky breath, and began to sing Hallelujah. At first, no one noticed. The trains roared by, people muttered, footsteps clattered on the concrete. But as his voice grew stronger, something began to shift. It wasn't just beautiful, it was real. It carried pain, loss, hope. Every word trembled with truth, as though his soul was breaking open right there in the middle of that subway station. A little girl holding her mother's hand stopped first. Then a man in a suit paused, removing his earbuds. One by one, people began to slow down. The usual chaos of the station faded into silence. By the time Eli reached the chorus, the entire platform had stopped moving, phones came out. People recorded. Some just stood still, tears in their eyes. When he finished, there was no sound, just the faint hum of a distant train. And then, a wave of applause erupted. Loud. Raw. Genuine. Eli looked up, eyes wide, as strangers clapped, cheered, and shouted his name, though none of them even knew it. He smiled for the first time in months, but then, from the crowd, a man in his 40s stepped forward, clean-cut, holding a coffee cup, eyes fixed on Eli. He said quietly, "That voice. I know that voice." Eli looked confused. "Sir?" The man smiled. "I used to be a producer at Atlantic Records. I haven't heard something that pure in a long time." The crowd murmured. The producer extended his hand. "What's your name, son?" "Eli Turner." "Well, Eli Turner," the man said, "how would you like to come by my studio tomorrow? I think the world needs to hear you." The crowd gasped. Eli froze, his heart pounding. He didn't know what to say. The producer continued, "I'm not promising you fame, kid. But I'll give you a chance, and sometimes, that's all it takes." Eli nodded slowly, tears streaming down his face. "Thank you. I don't know what to say." The producer smiled. "Just keep singing like that." People began to cheer again, slipping bills into Eli's open guitar case, 20s, 50s, even a $100 note. A woman hugged him. A little boy handed him a drawing of a guitar with the words, "You're amazing." That night, Eli sat on a park bench overlooking the city lights. He counted the money, enough for food, a shower, and a clean shirt. But more than that, he felt seen for the first time in a long time. Someone had listened. The next day, Eli went to the studio, nervous, humble, hopeful. He sang again, the same song that had stopped the subway. The producer recorded it, uploaded it online with a simple title, "The Subway Singer Who Made New York Stop." Within 24 hours, it hit 1 million views, then 10 million. Then 50. Messages poured in from around the world, people saying his voice had helped them through loss, loneliness, heartbreak. News outlets reached out. Talk shows invited him, and just like that, the boy who sang in the subway became a symbol of hope. Months later, Eli stood on a grand stage under bright lights, in front of thousands of people. His parents were in the front row, his mother wiping tears from her eyes. The same producer stood backstage, smiling like a proud father. Before starting his song, Eli spoke into the microphone. "I used to think the world was too busy to care," he said softly. "But I learned something in that subway. Sometimes, all it takes is one voice to make people stop and listen. So if you're out there struggling, thinking no one sees you, don't give up. Keep singing your song. Someone will hear you." The lights dimmed. The first notes played, and as Eli sang Hallelujah once more, the audience stood silent, still, and in awe. When he finished, the entire arena erupted in applause, echoing like thunder somewhere. Deep down, Eli knew this wasn't just his victory. It was for every soul who had ever felt unseen, unheard, forgotten. The subway singer had finally found his voice, and in doing so, he helped millions find theirs.